Hi, my name is Thomas Johnson, and I'm the founder and CEO of Get Up to Get Fit Wellness Coaching Concierge. I'm also a C-suite advisor and investor. And you're listening to the How May I Serve You podcast, where I'm constantly on the quest to surround myself with the best coaches while learning how to better serve our executive clientele by asking them, How may I serve you? Today's show is sponsored by Get Up and Get Fit. And Get Up and Get Fit will be providing students with textbooks and school supplies in Cambodia in honor of our guest today, as well as our philanthropic mission to impact at least 50,000 people per year. And today's guest is Josh Tan. Josh, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Thomas. Thank you for having me on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. So, Josh Tan is the founder and CEO of Alchemist Consultant. Josh works with manufacturing based clients to develop production efficiency and increase executive team performance. He specifically supports business owners who are in rapid growth stages and are interested in acquiring additional businesses in the portfolio. Josh's background in engineering, operations, and management makes him an excellent resource for owners and investors looking to maximize profitability. Josh, that's amazing right there.
It sounds better coming from your mouth, Thomas.
So Josh is a buddy of mine. I met Josh a few years ago at a networking meeting in Manhattan, and we had a phenomenal time. I love everything he's about. He's very intelligent, and he's a go-getter. He's a go-getter. So Josh, for those that don't know you, I want you to tell us a little bit about who is Josh Tan. Give me the 2 minute version. Who are you, man?
Josh Tan is your champion in your pocket. I love people. I love working with people. I love working with both the left side and the right side of my brain. So,
Okay.
The engineering side, solving problems, strategic thinking, as well as helping people communicate, work better as teams, get to the bottom of real problems and really solve them. I believe in that work and life balance, right? Having success and having happiness. So
Mm.
I've been through a long journey of professional seeking,
Mhm.
climbing corporate ladders, as well as spiritual seeking. My business is a professional service-based business, right? But me as a person, I love self-development. I love working on myself, and I love helping others be better in their lives for the people they care about, and ultimately to grow business.
Awesome, right there. And it's something you definitely mentioned that definitely is important. Self-development, working on yourself. In order for you to help others, you have to make sure that your cup is full. You have to make sure you work on yourself so you can be the best version of yourself, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that, Josh.
Thank you.
So Josh, listen, let's go back a tad bit, okay? I want you to tell us like where you from, man. Like where you from. Talk to us a little bit more about your childhood, right? Because I believe that our childhood upbringing has a huge influence on who we become as adults. Okay, so talk to us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So I grew up in New Jersey, right? My parents were together when I grew up, and we're an immigrant family. I was born in the States, but my parents immigrated from the Philippines.
Okay.
And there was a lot of trouble with immigration, not with the process, but like, coming to a new country. Thank God they knew English, but they had to like improve their English and they
Mhm.
had to find jobs, right? So there was a lot of time, moving around from house to house, sleeping with our uncles and aunts and friends, couches and things like that. And when we finally first started renting our own house, it was like me, my dad, my mom, and my sister all in one bedroom.
Mm.
So like for the first, I would say 6 7 years of my life, it was like one bedroom, right?
Mhm.
And for the most part, I was pretty happy as a kid. Actually, I didn't realize our situation. We're mainly just playing with toys, crawling around, doing what kids do, watching some TV. And the first thing that was like a priority was go to school, right? Make sure you get good grades. So like, call it a stereotype, whatever. But as immigrant family, education's the way out, right? That's
Mhm.
that's one way out. And for my family, that was the way out. So, all right, go to school, study hard. That was pretty much my life, right? Study hard, pretty narrow box, and I was an A-B student, like probably an A student through grade school, A student through high school, A-B
Mhm.
student through college. And what I didn't realize is when I got older, I'd actually adopted a bunch of poor habits,
Mm.
specifically money habits, right? That's why I led the story with that kind of like poverty story. We were lucky, or my parents worked hard, and we worked into the middle class.
Okay.
But I had like these really terrible money habits, right? Like scarcity mindset from my mom, who
Mhm.
was always worried about saving. Money's hard to come by. You got to work hard, and then this kind of like aloofness with money, like not really looking at money, not thinking about money, not caring about money from my dad. So, the
Mm.
money thing, when I started making money, it was never enough, even though I was making good money.
Mhm.
And then when I had it, I didn't know where it was going.
Mm. Wow.
So, I had the chance from all that, being on such a narrow path with just going to school and not really having much else. There were some activities, sports, whatever. Um, like snowboarding was my outlet, martial arts. Uh, Having such a narrow path, I didn't find myself. So that's why I'm such a big believer in self development, right?
Mhm.
Through the work of like Tony Robbins when I was in high school, learning how to like transform myself, create myself, and then into the working world. Fast forward, not struggling,
Mhm.
discovering who I am, what I'm about, realizing I've got all these skills. I don't want to work under someone. No matter how much I climbed the ladder, it was not enough. I was always seeking the next thing, right? Eventually moved into private business,
Mhm.
where I see in private business, businesses under $20 million, $40 million. These small businesses, they don't have all the bells and whistles of
Yeah.
large corporations. So that's what I like to bring them as an outside consultant.
Understood. Understood. Okay, Josh. Yeah, so I mean, I find it fascinating that the immigrant story, which is such a great story because I'm also an immigrant as well. I have a similar background. I was born in Liberia, came here when I was 6 years old. Um, but I find it fascinating in regards to the scarcity mindset, right? Because in the beginning, you're in the survival state, right? You're surviving, you're working your butt off, you're depending on your own strength, your own ability to be an able person to get certain things done. So you're always, even if you have money, you only know as much as you know, right? You are limited. So by taking the time to work on yourself, to better yourself, by focusing on personal development and constantly learning, that was the gateway. That was the gateway.
Absolutely.
And if
Yeah.
you look at these books, I have a whole bunch of Tony Robbins books behind me, man. A whole bunch of books behind me because I'm so big into personal development and mindset. Because if you don't take the time to actively work on yourself, then you're going to be stuck because we are creatures of habits and we learn from the people we surround ourselves by. And especially the first 7 years of our lives, that's when we kind of learn, we kind of develop our personality. So by actively putting in the work, working, and expanding your mindset and your horizon, you're able to do better. So kudos to you for getting past the hurdles and pushing through because it's tough. It's extremely tough, man.
It is. And you know it. And kudos to you too. Like, and it's important to share and talk about it, right? So other people can see, like, okay, I'm not stuck.
Yes, indeed. So Josh, man, I know you own a consulting company. So tell me a little bit more about that, right? Why did you develop this company?
So
Alchemist.
I did speak about it a little bit, right? Small businesses in America,
Yeah.
really the backbone of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that small businesses are a great way, just the other way out, right? Like I
Yeah.
said, school was the one way out for me and my family. But if you don't want to go to school, there's a couple other avenues, right? There's the military,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's work, there's blue collar work. So I do believe that manufacturing is a strong and critical part of the American life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the economy, American life, right? So developed this company because I have these skills in engineering that help improve efficiencies, help reduce error rates, help increase, your overall revenue, top line, and
Mm-hmm.
products. profitability on the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got all these certifications, right? Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, project management. It's not about me. It's about when I bring these tools to a small company, they probably like never seen it before. They've
Mm-hmm.
never had the budget to do it. They didn't have 7 engineers on staff. Like when I worked in corporate America, we had like 7 engineers. So it's easy to do like all these different projects, right? Easy
Got it.
in air quotes. So I like to bring this in to small organizations, small to mid-sized business and enterprise, so that I can support American manufacturing and families and owners that need it.
Got it. Got it. So Josh, I know you just mentioned you work with small and medium-sized organizations, but what industry are you industry agnostic, or like, or do you have a specific industry you like to focus on?
Yeah, I specifically focus on manufacturers, people that make
Manufacturer.
physical
Okay.
product.
Okay.
My specialty is in metals and alloys. So any kind of like metalworking, casting, forging, that's my specialty.
Okay.
And I do work with agnostically across the board for manufacturers.
Understood. Understood. Okay. Okay. That's awesome right there. So Josh, I mean, what makes you different, right? I mean, what makes you stand out? What's your it factor?
My it factor is huge capacity for strategic thinking, right?
Okay.
Seeing how all the pieces connect, right? Being able to put those pieces together and see where the plateau and the ceiling is for a business and how to get around that or through that.
Okay.
Right? And a lot of that deals with the people inside the organization. So I love working with the people. I have a huge EQ to help them exceed. And I have solved problems that I'm proud to say like had stumped a lot of people. So
Okay.
strategic thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence.
Awesome. Awesome. So, Josh, what drives you, man? I mean, I gotta ask you this question, right? As a person that has come from a lot, what's currently driving you?
The biggest drive for me is freedom.
Okay.
Freedom, the pursuit of freedom, time, location, financial freedom. That's my biggest pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say second to that is at the end of the day, at the end of a project, when somebody looks at you and they say, "Wow, that made a big difference," or "Wow, I had never thought about that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. I'm gonna do this right away." Like that is worth the work. I remember a quick story. I remember I had just worked with this executive team, right? They
Mm-hmm.
had all these internal issues and they were wondering like, can we really solve this? So we did a 2-day leadership retreat.
Nice.
Got him into a location, and we basically tore apart all the plans, right? And there was a lot of struggle. People were arguing, which is good. You want healthy conflict. But at the end of it, they turned to me and they said, "Wow, that was better than I imagined, exceeded my expectations." And
Nice.
I was like, "Wow, that made all the prep work worth it." Like I really made a difference for these people just like me, people just like you who need it.
That's awesome right there, man. So you isolated them in one place and they had to deal with the problem.
Yeah, and having an outside resource
Yeah.
is valuable because you don't have all the history. I don't have all the junk of like, oh, this person's not good or this person doesn't like this person, right? It's clean.
That's awesome right there, man. Because I could already picture it, man. I could picture you guys at this retreat just picking everything apart. I'm very visual, so as you tell me these stories, I'm able to picture it in my head.
Nice.
So Josh, what are some challenges you had to overcome, right, while creating your company?
Personal challenges.
Yeah, personal and business. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, personal challenges. There's a lot of fear that happens when you start a business.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fear, a lot of self-doubt. So that was one of the biggest things I had to get through.
Okay.
And the worst part, it still shows up till this day. It still shows up like, can I do this? Every time I hit a new level, bigger project, I'm like, can I do this? So I would say fear, self-doubt is a big one. Inside all of us, we have this internal conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for all of us, it's different. For some people, it's, I'm not lucky, or I'm not pretty, or whatever. Mine is like, I'm not good enough. So I had to really do the work, right? The transformational work, the self-development to get rid of that. And then, that was during the building of my company for the first few years of like finding my ideal client, creating my offer, creating my LLC, being able to pitch, being able to deliver value. That was there through that whole journey, and I had to really like rip that out.
Okay, okay. So how about right now? Like where you at right now? Because like I said, you've been through a lot. You really climbed the ladder in a sense, right? And you're at a place where you're doing well. So are you currently dealing with any challenges at the state?
Right now, I'm looking at like a total addressable market
Okay.
challenge. I'm looking at like, how do I scale, and how do I productize my service, right?
Okay.
So you know how in service-based industry, it's in a way it's still time for money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hourly per se, but it's like, okay, here's a project, here's a solution, right? Here's a project, here's a solution. How do I productize that? How do I productize that? That's one of my big challenges right now. Also addressing total addressable market, which would be, how many people are out there that I can actually serve to the highest capacity? How do I find these people?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I get in front of them?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good problem to have, man, because you're always looking you're looking to serve, you're looking to present your best self and work with the clients that you know you can serve at your highest capacity. So that's totally understandable right there. So Josh, like knowing how hard you work, when do you have time to actually invest in your well-being? Because I know you mentioned before you're into martial arts and you work on personal development. What time do you normally implement these I guess you said these factors or these activities?
You know, I'll call myself out that I sometimes forget to do personal self-care, but I have been a lot better.
Okay.
I've been a lot better over the last 12, 18 months. Um, and usually, it's gym in the morning. But when it's not that, that's pretty like, routine standard. When it's not that, it's as simple as calling people on the phone. Calling people on the phone, not talking about business, right? Just calling
Mhm.
friends, catching up. Then,
Okay.
of course, there's time with friends, time with family, time playing games.
Hmm.
I actually started playing games again, card games. Like I started playing Magic the Gathering,
Okay, that's cool.
because there you need time to just like play.
Yeah, that's important.
I don't play anything. I don't play video games. I don't play like poker. So I just found a way to kind of like relax and chill out, and that looks like playing games.
Yeah, Josh, that's so important. Oftentimes, especially being business owners, right? We forget to do these things. We forget to prioritize ourselves in that sense, right? Playing is important. When you're playing, you're having a good time, you're not thinking about work because we're so focused on the bottom line. And this is why so many business owners are dealing with stress. And stress is the number one killer. Stress
Mm-hmm,
is the number one killer, right? And
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
majority of illnesses are stress related. Over 75% of illnesses are stress related. So I'm glad you're taking the time to invest in your well-being because it's so
Thank,
important, man.
thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, so Josh, what do you believe you need to do in order to improve where you're at right now?
Great question. Uh, got me, Thomas. So I would say to improve where I'm at right now,
Uh-huh.
right, is it's a scaling problem.
Yeah.
So I'm getting my help, outside resources. That's one. And I would say number two, being highly intentional,
Mm,
right? Intentional focus. Not hard work is always there, right? The hours are there, right? But it's being intentional with the hours so you deliver the highest value to yourself. That would be my next internal challenge as I grow my business.
okay, okay. So being laser focused and not distracted because sometimes you could work, but if your work is not being laser focused, then it takes you
Yeah,
more
and
time to accomplish that task.
and I would say it beyond just the focus, right? You have a
Yeah.
hundred things to do.
Mhm.
Which are the ones that are actually going to move the needle? That's being intentional, right? There's being
Gotcha,
focused
understood.
and there's being intentional, right? So I used to spend a lot of time calling people and meeting people that were not my ideal client. You
Mm.
know, that's something that doesn't necessarily move the needle forward, right? And it's the same in many businesses, right? They're chasing all these like, and I see this in manufacturing a lot. They're chasing all the little small problems, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we had this quality error. We noticed that last week we ran an hour slower, you know. So they start chasing that, and it goes for every business owner. You start chasing the new thing instead of just focusing on the one thing you need to keep improving over and over and over again.
The one thing that reminds me of that book, The One Thing.
Which book is that?
It's I forgot the title, but it basically the goal is for you to focus on one thing at a time instead of being trying to multitask. Because even though multitasking sounds like a phenomenal concept, but in reality, it's not, right? Because when working on too many things at once, we're not able to really give our energy and focus on a specific task, right? Because we are divided. We're divided. So by focusing on one thing at a time, it allows you to accomplish that task efficiently, then go to the next task and accomplish that efficiently as well. So I think that's a phenomenal concept. I forgot the title, the author of the book, but it's a phenomenal book, man.
Awesome.
All right, so I want you to tell us: are you currently working on any new projects that that you would like to share with us?
Always working on new projects right
Okay.
now. Let's see. So one thing I am working on doing is helping business owners who want to invest in companies. So you mentioned yourself, Thomas, that you're an investor, right? There's a big change happening in the American economy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're strategic about it, there's ways to create mergers and acquisitions, purchase small companies, and roll them up into bigger companies and generate generational wealth. So one thing I'm working on is structuring companies for sale through process development, building out teams, right? Documenting everything, make sure everything's working, right? And also working with people that want to buy.
Nice.
I can help them choose, like, okay, this is a good company, or we can add in value by making some strategic hires or strategic upgrades, right? So that would be my two. I'm in the world of business investing, mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that sounds phenomenal right there. There are a lot of companies that are out there and people don't know about that you could actually buy companies that are already operational. Sometimes the owner might just want to retire, right? So yeah, I mean, you're in a good space, Josh.
I'd like to give you a statistic, right?
Talk to me.
90% of first-time businesses fail. 80% of second-time businesses fail. Only 2% of businesses that are purchased fail.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's low. Only 2%.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Now,
I think more people need to start purchasing businesses instead of trying to start their own.
well, my mentor told me or taught me, it's just like buying a house. Like most of us understand the concept of buying a house, but most of us
Yeah.
don't understand the concept of buying a business. But there's a very similar path, right? Like getting financing, getting loans. You don't have to shell out $2 million to buy a business.
Interesting. So you could get are there like services out there that give you a certain amount of loan to purchase a business? Because I know for houses there are a lot of incentives, right? There's a lot of government based programs that help you out as well. So is it similar? Like, are there any similar programs of that magnitude?
Absolutely. You can go to the SBA, number one
Really?
SBA, and you can get an SBA loan to buy a business. And it's actually one of the more friendly government programs to actually help you get the loan to get the financing to buy a business.
Got you.
Yeah.
To all listeners out there, listen. I hope you guys are taking notes. Josh right now is dropping nuggets. He's dropping nuggets. All right. Take notes and execute. So, Josh, if someone were to inquire about your services or just want to connect with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on best place, email me, josh@joshtan.net. And I'm also very active on LinkedIn, Josh Tan. And my website is joshtan.net.
Awesome, awesome. It's quite simple. Josh10.net. So, Josh, listen, thank you for coming on to this episode of How May I Serve You? And I also like to thank all of our listeners and viewers for lending us their ears and the eyeballs. So, Josh, I have one last question before we head out, and that is how may I serve you?
Wow, this is the best way to end a podcast. Thomas, it would be great if you can connect me with anyone that wants to invest in businesses, that wants to grow a portfolio of businesses, buy and sell businesses, or roll businesses up into a larger portfolio. That would be an amazing value.
Awesome, awesome. And I shall, man. Listen, I got you. You're part of my network now. We here. We here.
Thank you,
Sure.
Thomas.
No problem. So listen. Once again, this is your host Thomas Johnson, and I had a phenomenal podcast interview with Josh 10. So, guys, make sure to tune into next episode because you're going to continue to receive this type of content. All right, great conversation. I'm pretty sure you learned a lot because I learned a lot as well. Right. So, take care. Be blessed. We'll see you on the other side. We out.
Later, guys.